That is the greatest moment in my life, bro. That is the greatest moment in my life, bro.
What's up and welcome back, fellow Siege spectators and players. Today is the first
That is the
game of the
greatest
R6
moment
Siege
in my
X
life, bro.
Seasonal Series. It's the end of summertime, so the leaves won't be the only thing falling. We're going to take down a team today. Whiskey Run, we're here. It's the first iteration of it. Let's go.
That's right. This is a series that I don't think got broadcast, publicized nearly enough leading up to it. It took 5 weeks of qualifiers, and none of those, unfortunately, were able to be streamed, only player POVs. So the community didn't really get a whole lot of info on how this tournament was shaping up, but finally we're here. The contender division, the higher part of this series, all of these teams played 5 qualifier weekends in a row. The teams with the top scores made it to the leaderboard, and we're getting to see the very first of these. This is the number 1 and the number 5 team taking each other on. ZoCorp Esports taking on Orgless, which is very, very recently the Ex-QoR roster. So they're still playing it out, though, now as the Orgless team.
Yeah, a couple of names you know on that side. A little bit rather unknown on the other side, but doesn't mean that there's going to be any less drama coming out of the ZoCorp side. I mean, they made it this far, right? Now they've got to take on some of those better known names in the T2 scene. So proverbial giant to start us off on this one run.
Yeah, I know somebody said it in the chat. There's an underdog series here for sure. This Orgless team, Ex-QoR, definitely one of the better known teams. One of the absolutely the runners up here for Challenger Series and a favorite to make it into Pro League coming up for the future with this team. This feels much very like an underdog scenario there for the ZoCorp Esports side, but backed by an org that made it to the World Cup, the Esports World Cup, and a different title. See how they're going to make it now here in R6. It is a best of 1, so we're only going to get to see one map between these two teams. It is a double round robin, so games going on today and tomorrow, and then picking up again next weekend as we roll through this I guess the round robin phase 2 of the seasonal summer series.
Round 1 of phase 2. Let's find out where we're going, Run. The story's told by where the battleground is set, and in a best of 1, it's a sprint to the end. You can see a couple of good ones taken off the board quickly. I know you're happy. Skyscraper, the second to fall.
Let's go!
But all the way down to the end, Run. We're going to get back to Bank, and Bank has been super fun in the competitive scene lately, from the debates on Twitter that Dez is bringing out over the Tachanka, which is better, Smoke or Tachanka in those situations, to the absolute collapse onto site that can be basement. Like, this Bank has really become one of those maps that just has a ton of a variety to it. Skyline drops. We saw the Glass Capital combo move to take out people on Banana. I mean, like, this map has got just a little bit of everything.
It's time, my friend. Time for Bank. Here we go. Map 1, best of 1. Getting to see this one plays out. You talked about it. I absolutely love this map, and I was certainly very happy with what we got to see banned out from these teams. They're my absolute goats. Getting rid of Cafe, Consulate, and Skyscraper early on is amazing. I think this is some of my least favorite competitive maps, but going to Bank here going to be a great place. And best of 1 means that no options, no opportunities for a redo. They're going to have to be very locked in on trying to adapt quickly.
Yeah, and so that can favor the ZoCorp team just a tad, right? Not only because you're starting on the defense, on a decidedly defensive-sided map, but relatively unknown, right? So not a ton of VOD that Orgless can really just try to combat. So what do they got to do? They got to practice against the default, right? Practice on what potentially that meta shift is. You can see we're going to take it down to lockers to start us off, and in the debate of who you bring in, Smoke or Tachanka, well, they were hinting at a Tachanka. They're going to take them off and bring just one area. Goyo going to be the first.
And he's certainly the better or one of the best operators there for area denial, certainly in the bank. And the way that the bans play out, when you have you have to choose which of the attacking operators you try and want to take off. They go for the Ace and the Grim instead, rather than the Hibana. And I think that gives this attacking team a little bit of a boost. Certainly going to be able to open up all of those hatches. And interesting that ZoCorp wants to play the basement first, as the first place they want to see how Orgless is going to handle it.
It's not a bad position to put yourself in, right? Basement, arguably the best site on the map, is going to be a way to get that momentum started very early. And because Bank is a little bit bigger, right, you can afford to have somebody like a Vigil holding all the way up onto the second floor, playing that lurk role, playing that impact player later towards the end. And honestly, Run, I know, hot take here, I don't know if the Hatch Queen is absolutely necessary as a ban almost anymore, right? We just see these can openers being used everywhere. You've got 4 hatches, 2 operators who also bring some great utility to the board, right? Taking Grim off, I think that's a really great call.
Attackers have discovered the location of a bomb.
You know, that is a great take, and one that we haven't talked about enough. As more and more operators got those can openers, I think it certainly opened up the ability to walk through. And Grim is one of those that brings along the can opener. So getting rid of him sort of it hinders the attacking team just that little bit as well. If Hibana was banned, Grim would be one of the operators they'd likely bring along that's got the can openers instead. So maybe the can openers have become a little bit overbalanced at this point with so many operators having them, so many options available.
Run, you shut your mouth right now. Don't you take away my can openers from operators. You're going to say it, and they're going to take it. Ying on the board, Run. We've got a couple of switches to some of the guns, right? New tech on board. I don't know if Franklin brought that out or not, but you've been seeing a lot of the shotguns now. The Reaper has been introduced into a lot more of the loadouts, and honestly, that seems like such a fun change. That Reaper being absolutely devastating. Inrio gonna take the first one as the first contest rings out. That's the Vigil done and dealt with. Now they got to get down and put some pressure on to the Jaeger, who's going to try to hold out, but eventually just get back down to sight with his tail tucked between his legs.
Yeah, I think that one of the hallmarks here of this Ex-QoR team, Orgless, really very good on the intel side. Just ZoCorp is going to have to fight that heavy, and I'm wondering whether or not they're going to want to switch up and maybe bring out the Mute in the future, because they're going to play off that intel to a degree that most of the entry-level teams in Siege are going to struggle with, and that's just an example of it.
All right, so now pulling out those can openers, going to get started on some vertical play. Tubarao going to try to slow things down, as some we've seen a little bit here, hiding underneath the hatch, waiting for it to get opened up. You saw Mike W do just an absolute crazy 4-piece killer when we watched him play that almost same exact spot on Bank. Just tucked back in a little bit more. So yeah, just getting up close and personal with it. Rival taking a look towards the doorway, might find this Tubarao with a little bit of ease, except for the fire's going to ring out and force him back into the hallway. And unbeknownst to him, the relative safety from the class peeking towards servers.
I love that reference to the Mike W play. That was such a great part of Siege history in the Challenger series, and getting to see that play out live was awesome. Love that, and teams continuing to use that strategy going forward. But it was really just a incredible play at the time. I mean, we've got 9 left alive, 30 seconds left. It is a crazy execute about to happen.
That's right, Focal gets taken down, and there it is. Franklin on the Ying shot. He's going to find one. Franklin good for 2 as Ying tech's happening. Inrio picking up his second. Spiff going to take it. You said it in the pre-show. You said it before we got on. Spiff don't whiff, and he lived up to that name here.
Yeah, even with 9 players left alive in the lobby at 39 seconds, we knew that it was going to be a crazy execute, and that came up big on the Orgless side. Not surprised there. So ZoCorp going to have to do a little bit better job of trying to force some of those early engagements, because if you allow this team to collapse on site in a well coordinated execute, it's going to be a situation that you struggle with. So I hate to go underdog too much on the ZoCorp guys, but you know what? It's opening round 1 of this best of 1. It is double round robin. So all of the teams in the top 8 here get a chance to play the others twice as we work out who are going to move on to phase 3, which is that single elimination bracket happening in 2 weekends. Jeez, I'm trying to keep up with the format. It's tough.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't get it. That's why I keep running around. He's got all the details. Back down to lockers for round 2 run. They're going to try to run it back. And I think they're just going to switch up a few of
Attackers
who's
need to locate
playing
and defuse
what, as
bombs.
it's mostly a similar scenario. This time, though, they're going to take the Goy off the board. And in the debate of Tachanka versus Smoke, Smoke's going to win out on this one.
Yeah, and I think I know that that debate goes back and forth, but Smoke has been one of those core operators for Rainbow Six Siege from the very beginning, one of the pathfinders there to start off with, and one of the reasons that he continues to be played just so good, and ability to deny the plant there. So if it had come down to the very end, and Smoke had all of those available, the Goyos are a little bit easier to clear out because it's just util that you need to focus on. Yeah, he's got more of them, but on the Smoke side, this attacking team is going to have to work on baiting them out
greatest
early, rather than trying to
moment in
fight
my
it
life,
out and
bro.
just clear that util early.
I just wanted to say thank you so much. It is September in the end of the summer. So we just want to say thank you so much for continuing to support the double shot. Albedo, Wilf, thank you so much. And to the new sub that just joined in as well. Thank you for hanging out with us. Enjoy those custom emotes. And if you want a few of those on your end, well, the subs are a little bit cheaper right now. Get a little bit of that ad-free viewing.
Watching this team start to clear out initially, opening up some of the sight lines there, opening up the doors, and they had Smoke playing on the blue stairs, holding down what is for sure the competitive default location. The difference, though, we're absolutely ready for it, knowing, waiting. Are they going to peak? Are they going to be over eager at this point, or wait and again bait this team in? He's got to hold on to some of those smokes, maybe waste one on the blue stairs, but he's definitely going to want to hold on to a couple of them for that post-plant or that plant scenario.
Yeah, well, the problem with playing blue is, like, to even get the hatch open, it could potentially be a feat of danger.
Device on pause.
Tubrow's going to start slowing it down on the other side, and they have the Rooney Gates to make it as well. They're really just trying to just stall out the time here, and I think that's one of the great calls, right? That's one of the best parts is setting the pace early here on Bank.
Dang, this drone has just got 9 lives. It survives a couple of shotgun blasts, and now they have baited out Spicy's 2 of those smoke canisters already, and it's sitting, holding on the stairs, waiting. They're going to use one of the Deimos drones there to try and identify where he's playing and put pressure on him, forcing him down those stairs. But they're doing a good job of just using up this util right now.
Yep, takes a couple of shots towards the bottom. The blue as the smoke clears out, still in a position of power, especially because the hatch hasn't been opened up yet. They can't put that vertical pressure on them. So a little bit of a stall game that's really going well here for the defense. They do finally find the kill, taking smoke to 0-2 as the trade happens. The bodies get equalized, and now we're into a 4-4 with 37 seconds left on the board, and not all of the vertical completely dealt with yet. Sends Gadget to go through as they start getting themselves ready for a util dump. Themselves into sight for it. There it is, a couple of shots towards the window, but not going to grab it just yet. So, open up on the small angle to the wall, hoping to get a back plant potentially going in there.
Whoa,
No, they
that
can't
was
get
close.
that open either. Yeah. So just push right up, sends Gadgets out. Summer's able to take Focal off the board, and that's the plant starting to go down as the Tuberau is done and dusted. They're able to take it now into a post-plant scenario, but the defense into a good spot here as Inrio does answer back. That gets us equalized on the number advantage, except for they were able to grab Tuberau, which means they claim it by 1. Starting to get that diffuser 1.
Oh, that's huge!
1 to stick, and they're going to be able to pull it off here. He's on the back end of it, and defenders are going to take the basement.
And a little bit of a roller coaster ride there at the end. I thought we were going to see another Orgless win. Post plant scenario, they able to clear out the util. He uses the Sens gadgets, pulls off the plant, and then that huge pick upstairs on the first floor from taking down Barry. That I thought it was it right there that was going to lock in the attacker win. But great play over on the server side allows that defense to hold on just a little bit longer, and then to kill the vertical play from down below was exactly what they needed, and they pulled it off. ZoCorp ties it up. It is Bank, a little bit defensive sided, not unexpected, but it's a good adaptation there, and we said that's what these teams needed to do in a best of one scenario to start this thing off.
Yeah, absolutely. And basement on Bank should be that first win, right? Orgless came in on that first round and they basically just checked all the boxes and came out the gate swinging. Were able to take it. This time, a focus on that patience, on that presence of mind to just hold. That left you alive with more players, which means you can do the hold and the stick, and they found it. Now we got to take it up to 2F. Considerably harder site here, Run, right? You see some of those metas in place where Castle's being brought along, the Echo being utilized. They're going to bring the Echo here as well. In fact, they're going to double up on the intel. But with no Castle, some of those power positions are going to be in a little bit more dangerous or disadvantageous.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, it's sort of a toss-up in how teams like to play this site. I know you're a huge fan of the castle, particularly because it works. It's such a good option there to block off some of those sight lines, and Orgless certainly might be able to take advantage of that. They're going to rely on, again, the little bit of extra intel there, really doubling up on the intel with the Valk and the Echo. I think when you're talking about Orgless was taking advantage of using intel on their side to punish ZoCorp. Trying to gain a little bit of extra to understand where they're coming from is a solution, but I don't know whether or not that's going to be the difference maker here.
All right, Run. So attack side of it, a little bit of opting for the Hibana for that long range open up onto the breach. Instead of going and bringing out the thermite. We'll see if that's the right call. But you do like to see Rival bringing out Aurora. And that could be very useful, especially for that repel in. If you're able to take the top of Square and you're blocking off Banana, blocking off CEO with those Aurora doors, that means that you really only have to contend with the run out from ATMs or potentially onto the rotate. So if Aurora's allowed to get those gadgets in place, could be a devastating hold for a post-plant scenario.
Well, it's all the things you talk about being great for Castle, used in reverse against the defense. And you said it, she's able to get those gadgets in play. Let's give the defense a little bit of options there to open them up, but certainly losing that time. But look at this, they identified that they had the Echo and the Valk, bringing along the IQ, the perfect counter, and Spiff working that angle hard.
And there we are, gonna start to get some of those, try to get some of those Aurora gadgets out. Man, that was a long distance that he was able to take onto Trump there. That was huge. What a big play. Defense is gonna find Inrio off the board. Fokal's gonna go down and hella bullets answered back onto daggers as the Valkyrie's life is forfeit, now relegated to the cam work. A quick shot towards Marble, but Run, even in a numbers advantage to the defense, Plant's going down. They're going to be able to stop it with the Echo. There we go. That was a huge play. Spiff is going to take down the Jaeger. Does put us into a 3-3. A C4 to answer back, which means that Echo's going to have to get active towards vending. Takes a shot onto Spiff. Is able to find it now into a 1v2 as they do go down. And look at this. ZoCorp good for 2 in a row.
Yeah, running the IQ there, trying to identify the gadgets, and the piece that they missed was the Echo. Franklin's so good, one of the best planters in the game, is right there waiting. He's just about to get it down. Looked like he had just enough time. ZoCorp, though, the Echo player, left alive, able to deny that plant at the last second. Well played on the defense part to deny that at the end. Even though the Aurora gadgets were in play, those down panels blocking off some of the access points prevented the attackers from making the push in too. And even though Blackbeard Focal was right in Janitor, putting some pressure on them, ZoCorp did not back down from that engagement, goes for the melee, and manages to take down the shield player really before he was able to be a big focus in that round.
Yeah, so ZoCorp on the defense looks good for 2 in a row and means that we're going to see the Tersh site coming up next. And it's not necessarily that they have to play it, but stick with the routine, right? So take it down to open air. This would be the first time we see the castle being brought out here by the defense, which means we could potentially see that focus on the extension upstairs. We're going to have a vertical presence regardless, but castle could help to slow that down and hold on just a little bit longer. Couple that with the pulse. That means if you're going to push that top floor lurker, that top floor player could find yourself with a little bit of C4 explosion damage as well.
We found out yesterday during Ranked that Amazon.com
Attackers need to locate and
/SSD
defuse
is
as
a
many bombs
banned
as they
term
can.
in chat. And really, it felt like we were going to see that one pop up in all chat. As a couple of rounds here, we've been
Attackers have
waiting for
discovered
one
the
of the
location
players
of a
to
bomb.
load in. Not sure who it is that's struggling a little bit. This the ZoCorp team, I believe, is based in Canada. So I don't know whether or not there's a server or ping kind of a problem, but in general, getting to see that that's sort of funny with the hold.
All right, so a couple of
10 seconds
people
left.
going to be taking it upstairs. We haven't seen any of the castles being utilized onto the second floor. So instead of extending up, which we'll see that presence, we're going to extend out, taking off some of those critical push points, blocking off blue, blocking off the E-box, helping keep square relatively untouched, and an extension into archives. Interesting use here by the defense. I wonder if Orgless is going to be completely ready for it. Well, they're going to be partly. Flores Rotero drones on the board, going to make quick work of some of those castle barricades.
I was gonna say, I really hope that those weren't super important parts of the defense here, because right now Flores is just making quick work of clearing all that off, and there is the attacker intel. I've identified the player downstairs holding onto the server side, and Genesis quickly wiped off the board. And he was a big part of picking up some of the kills on that 2F win, so losing him early, unfortunately, was sitting at that 3-3. At least it's the Jaeger, so he's got all of that intel down at this point. You can see the shield pushing in, Franklin playing on that. Pulse is giving them all of that intel, and is he going to run downstairs in the basement? Not yet.
Yeah, it was not a bad. Not a bad play. They find one off the board. Spiff goes down, so some of those castle barricades going to stay up just a little bit longer. Here was the contest we were looking for, though. Remained untouched down here. Summer has a little bit of intel that might be getting to see somebody peek down. Doesn't know he's on the left side, though. That shot's going to reveal his location. So now it's confirmed. Oh.
Oh, no. Oh, tragic.
Well, you know, a classic case of you can't win them all. Now, as they start to get those
Whoa.
gates opened up, Pulse makes a quick play, but not to be disturbed just yet. Monty able to escape to some relative safety. Now the phone calls start to go off as the defenders' locations are being sussed out. Looking towards blue, we still got a spoiler playing in archives. Dagger's able to take Franklin off the board, and that's your walking drone done and dealt with. Focal able to answer back. Rival to take one now as puts ourselves into a 1v3 scenario. Plant starting to go down, which means we're going to find ourselves in a post-plant scenario, potentially. Fire's going to lobbed in his direction. Inrio's going to take it off some SMG-12 play, and they just looked a little bit better on that one, right? It seemed like the defense had a lot of options available to them. They were spaced out quite better, but the attack was they just had more cohesion. They were put together better. They were stitched tighter than you know, like a leather jacket with patches on.
We saw two mistakes downstairs in the basement on the server side, right? We saw the defense playing down, trying to hold on that spot, but got pinched with both somebody coming down the stairs and somebody coming up through that dirt tunnel. So they lose one of the defenders downstairs, and that's the Jaeger early, and then Castle trying to pull a flank move off, not realizing that Orgless was still holding on to that bottom blue. So no intel for them. They lose the castle, lose a body there, and then it all focuses upstairs. Most of those, most of the pieces of util that we thought might help ZoCorp hold on to that spot, you know, upstairs, sort of cleared out pretty quick with the Flores drone. So what did that leave them with? Barry playing in archives, that potential spoiler. You talked about him, but man, Orgless just too good with the attacker intel,
Defenders,
able to
protect your
clear him
bombs from
out
being
and force
defused by
the
attackers.
last alive into a 1v3 scenario. Post-plan, very tough scenario to come back from. So you said it, they're going to try the round rotate. They lost basement twice back on round 1 and 2. They're going to try it again for a third time here.
Okay, so what are we bringing to the table? Basically the same lineup that we saw before, right? And in the if it ain't broke, don't fix it scenario, still lean into that smoke for the area denial. How do we see it different on the side of Orgless this time? Just bringing in the shield, the spearhead, the blitz is getting active. I like the sense, right? We've been seeing it a ton, and it's just great. And what's one of the best parts about bringing the sense to the table is a warden can't see through it, right? So it adds that little extra layer of protection, that guessing game. Let's get active with a spawn peek.
Ooh, it was one of the first times that we saw it. I wondered whether or not the ZoCorp team would sort of have that confidence to take the gunfight to some, I mean, admittedly very good gunners on this Orgless side. First time they started to put that little bit of pressure, and I think honestly good call, because so far we had seen Orgless just do a good job of getting in the building very quickly, putting pressure on that defense, forcing them in a couple of uncomfortable situations, even though they did win a few of those battles. I think slowing that down attack, giving them a little bit of extra time is a good call.
As the first minute starts to count down, Run, it's a little bit of a hurry up and wait scenario. Blitz is on the slow creep up. He's going to get spotted out on Marble and taken down. Inrio's able to find one. Looking for a second now as they are just absolutely causing chaos down this back stairs. The pings go out. They now take some really incredible space. Just drops everybody. Ouch! Now Smoke, the one we were talking about, is the last alive. Able to take one onto the dirt path there, but it's going to be a plant going down. And yet again, History Run has repeated ourselves, or theirselves, or itself, as we're now into a 4v1 scenario.
Well, and it's a post-plant retake scenario as Smoke was trapped out on the bottom of blue stairs, so he's trying to make his way back into his own site at this point, even though he managed to find one. Too many angles being held here with the blitz just sort of being a distraction and allowing the rest of his team to hold that very tight angle and mop up the ZoCorp squad from the basement. So a little bit of back and forth. Orgless winning round 1, ZoCorp winning round 2, and now basement for the third time goes to Orgless again.
Man, that was just a beautiful push, right? I imagine it was just they spotted the gap. Nobody was playing. It was drop and then 3, 2, 1, take everybody off the board. 3 wins for Orgless. They take it on attack side. So if you're a ZoCorp fan, you're hoping that they are able to tie it up here to take us to that 3-3, because a 4-2 split on the other side of it, not feeling good going into your attacking half.
No, and honestly, I'm a little bit surprised that that ZoCorp goes for lockers one more time, right? This is going to be the 4th time we've seen this site, and it has not been one that they were terribly successful on. They've lost it twice out of the 3 times we've seen it so far. They won second floor when they played it on round 3. They could go back to second floor if they wanted to again. I know that was a round that we did see Orgless, and if you're just joining us, welcome everyone. Orgless is the Ex-QoR roster update as of today into the Orgless team, but they won upstairs in a post-plan scenario. It was close, but it was one that ZoCorp was able to hold on to. Now they've lost basement twice, so it certainly seems like a bit of a risk to try this one more time.
Well, here's the problem: is the basement is the better site, right? It is the better site to defend against, and you had a little bit of success on it, so you double down. The problem is there's no adaptation. You're bringing the same exact lineup, which is going to allow Orgless to do the same exact thing, unless we're switching zones that the defense is playing in, or unless we've covered the gap that they spotted on the last run. I don't know that they did, as it's into the round now, and we're still getting the vertical hatches taken care of.
Yeah, a couple small changes in the lineups, like you said. Some are going to run this a double pair there of the projectile deny, so they're expecting a lot of util getting dumped in and maybe preparing for the Sens gadget. The thing is, Orgless didn't bring the Sens this time. They brought Franklin, and he was running the Ying Tech, the Shoddy plus the Reaper. That has certainly made it into the meta as of this point. So they do have an awful lot of util that they can dump into this site, and whether or not the magnets and those ADSs are going to be able to catch all of it is the big question.
Yeah, well, we're going to find out. Going to take a look down dirt. They're getting more drones in. It's Intel City for this first round as Orgless is just collecting information, right? They're going to try to put it together like a small symphony when it gets going. And now that they've sussed out some of these defenders, start to put some pressure on it, specifically his power position on blue.
There it is, holding on, waiting, using those can openers. Gonna go ahead and burn daggers as Zoto canisters like you said. He's gonna use another one, so he's down to his last one. It's a minute 39, so not even half the round gone. So they are burning some of this defensive utility, and they're gonna get the hatches open eventually. So the can opener's doing their job, and that is the last Zoto. So now everything's gonna get opened up, and he's not gonna have any ability to try and slow this team down. He still does have a C4, and I was wondering whether or not he was going to use that in conjunction with trying to fight the Ying opening up those hatches, but no, he's going to keep it in pocket for the final execute.
Man, there's like zero change on this defense, right? Everybody's sitting in even the exact same position. So able to shoot like Candela, takes him down. Franklin pays the price, but Rival calculated, steady, and lethal, and Archer in siege form, able to take one. Immediately traded back, though. That's the DMR. That's the power of the metagun at the moment, which means they claim that body balance with 47 seconds left to go. Now Capital. He's got still one flame left, so he can suss out, or he can at least push out that player that's sitting and denying plant. The smoke is gone. There's no C4. Oh, no, there is a C4. Tuberov still has one. So the plant can still be denied. 29 seconds. It's exactly what's going to have to happen here. Barry takes one off the board as Inrio goes down, and now into a 2v4. We question why they went back, but with 20 seconds left, this feels like maybe it was a great move. A Runegate dealt with on the top. Vertical to be had, pushing up onto the chassis means they have to deal with that vertical as well. Not gonna happen. Daggers takes him down. Spiff and don't whiff. Good for one, but not able to take them all. Go for the final kill. And, you know, why did they go back to basement? Well, they felt like they could win it, run.
I mean, seeing Orgless, we didn't talk about the ban as they came in, but the Twitch combo and then losing the Echo on the Orgless side, it was... you know, maybe the reason they didn't want to play the upstairs, part of the reason they won the 2F was they were able to use the Echo to deny the plant from Orgless at the end there. So they said, all right, we're going to try it one more time. And boy, you know, we didn't even talk about the fact that from a projectile deny perspective, they brought, you know, both the Wamai and the Jaeger and then the Hiruni as well. They were making sure that they ate up everything. And that was, it seemed to be the difference maker. Ying tried to use one of the Candelas. Franklin there trying to clear out the server player, loses that engagement though, it absolutely should have been flash. It was kind of crazy that the player in server didn't get flash, but it was quickly answered back by the rest of the team. But the ADSs, the magnets, the Iruni gates just absolutely ate up everything, prevented them from really getting any of that util into effect to the defenders.
Yeah, not a bad play. Honestly, love it. And since the Mira's left on the board, it means we're going to see lockers as a first site for Orgless as well. I don't know, Run. I'm not sure here. The Dokkaebi ban, obviously, right? Bank is huge. You want to suss out those roamers. But the Hibana ban, it feels strange. I mean, unless it's specifically so you can't deal with this mirror from a long range, right? Now, obviously that makes sense, but as far as like opening up everything, those can openers seems to be on a bigger variety of folks.
Yeah, but I think if teams have certainly been comfortable using the Hibana for a long time as the defined operator for opening up the hatches. So if anything, maybe it's throwing a team a little bit off their game if they
Attackers
haven't
need to
really
locate
moved
and
into the
defuse as
can
many
opener
bombs as they
meta.
can.
I know we talked about that being sort of a switch up that's happened recently, but Hibana used to be one of those ops that we saw banned on bank frequently because I think teams felt comfortable. So Orgless, whether or not they're going to be a team that struggles with that, or thinking they might be able to cause a ZoCorp to struggle with it, I think it's more of a standard play. So we'll see how ZoCorp on the attacking side manages it. They don't want to have to deal with the shield. They knew how good the shield players were on this Orgless side, so getting rid of the clash, I think, makes that just a little bit easier.
So you're saying ban the Hibana because it's much for newer teams? Man, that makes 100% sense. Honestly, that's a comfort pick. Sure, yeah, that makes 100% sense. But here's the fun part, right? The experience of Orgless is going to see some looks that maybe ZoCorp not quite used to. Specifically talking about the Mira on the breach, right? Just makes it more and more difficult to use that breaching gadgetry to get close to put it on. And because Hibana isn't there, you're gonna have to do it with maybe some Selmas or something. They don't opt for it this time, Run. It's can opener city.
A lot of this battle happening upstairs, even in a basement site. This is something that, I don't know, ZoCorp didn't really do on their defensive side at all, which was heavy extension upstairs. So you can see what this defense is bringing to the table. 3 players holding on to the upstairs site. They've made a rotate back down, but Spiff is that opening pick one more time, and that takes down the Nomad, so the flank watch is gone. And they still have utility upstairs. Wow, gonna grab a second on the 2F. It's a basement site, but they're dominating on the second floor.
Spiff don't whip. Good for a triple kill. Unmoved from the top floor. Not only that, Run, he's doing it with the 10 Ronies, 16 bullets, and a dream. Give him a
There
quad
it is.
piece. Make it flawless. Sheesh. Orgless just absolute masterclass here. That was smoother than a Kenny G saxophone solo, homie.
I don't want to say unexpected. I mean, you're talking about one of the greats at the game, but man, absolutely dominating the ZoCorp attack upstairs. So they went for a top-down clear. Orgless absolutely read into that and fried. Spiff frying them upstairs with a 4-piece on round 7 there to start off their defensive half. That's a tough spot, but you're going to get a couple extra seconds to think about it there as Barry jumped out of the game for just a second. But caused a little bit of anxiety. So how is the ZoCorp attack going to try and work around it? Now they have to try and play this 2F defensive site. They're going to try the Monty, or at least holding it to start off with. I think Monty's got some great options coming up those spiral stairs, pushing in from the square side. So if ZoCorp is good on the shield play, this could be a bonus for them.
Yeah, hit one problem. Now they got to go attack 2F when they just lost 2F, right? It wasn't even the bomb site, couldn't quite make it in. So now you have to do it with all of that gadget and utility set up to hold on as 2F being your strong point. And because we left both the castle and the Mira on the board, Run, this top floor is about to get extra compy.
Yeah, Orgless running that more defined, the more defined comp strat, that combination of the castle and the Azami, like you said, and then Franklin gonna dish it out the same. Gonna run the Echo as his plant was denied upstairs. He's gonna run the plant tonight. Same operator playing downstairs in the basement. Yeah. And, I mean, Spiff was so good with the P10, switching onto the Vector. Oh, this is a dangerous scenario for ZoCorp. They're going to have an awful lot of intel and approach this very cautiously.
Okay, they stuck the Monty Run, so they're going to be looking to take some of that space up the spiral. And of course got some of that util in place to launch some of those players out of those critical push points. I'm talking E3 with the fire and the smoke, allowing the Monty to potentially get up and make that push over, and then opening up with the Selma charges so you can take that Kanto wall, so you can have the long angle. No DMRs though on the board to really lean into that on the side of the attack, but plenty of stopping power.
Look at that. I love the Spider-Man rappel in lobby. It's a little bit dangerous, looking to see where the defenders are playing at, and Inria was ready for it. Heard the rappel come in, checked to make sure no one was in that spot, but it's a dangerous option there to give it a try.
Sequential breaching activated.
And so the attack team going to start checking off those boxes, those Yali boxes that you need to have to be able to get yourself in towards an execute. Ooh, almost caught a free one down the hallway, but not going to quite be the case just yet. The other thing that I didn't realize is Rival put onto the Azami, right? The Architect on the board, just going to redefine some of these places that you're trying to get into. So couple that with the castle. This is a pace-setting defense. Now, the deal is, though, they've made their way. The attack has made their way to the top of the spiral already, and they've done it in a three-piece situation. So one well-timed C4 could be disastrous. Echo Charge tries to dislodge the shield, but not going to quite do it. Taking some damage, but not out of the fight just yet. The Wind of Repel, the fires chased him out of that banana area. That is a compy mirror strat.
Damn, I was actually really surprised that Spiff had gotten so close to those 2F windows, but look at this. Not realizing that Rival Nizami is playing on the desk. Man, just picks up a double from that position. I thought the attackers knew they didn't and lose 2 as a result, and the case is down.
That's right. One of the yokais goes down as now the Azami starts to get to work. Spiff gonna find another one off the back of some play. Access denied. You shall not pass. They're gonna hold up top here. He's gonna get the kill, but it's gonna be traded as Rival now finds themselves onto the triple kill. Some are the last alive, the lone soldiers. They take a shot towards that main lobby area, but it's written in the stars. It's done and dusted. Fokal's able to find that final kill, and Orgless looking real good here at the close to the end of one.
Yeah, it's close to the end, sitting at 3v5 here. If you're just joining us, welcome everyone to the Ubisoft Summer Series, or Seasonal Series as it is. This is the summer version. We're expecting that this tournament is going to run more times throughout the year as it coincides with the Pro League and how this one fits in as a tournament for everyone. Anyone was allowed to join this tournament, open to everyone, and for the first time, Ubisoft had lowered the age limit for this tournament down to 13. So very different than most of the Ubisoft tournaments requiring 18 or older. The seasonal series allowed up to 13. So I think that gave a lot of extra teams the ability. Now that it's starting to get a little bit more coverage, a little bit more advertising out there, I think more teams will come into that next seasonal series. And money is on the line. Ubisoft is paying out the winners of this tournament. All that information found on Liquipedia and on Challenger mode, which is the place to join up for this for the seasonal series.
Okay, not a bad idea. Take a timeout. ZoCorp wanted to talk it over, have a little bit of time to say, okay, here's where we're losing this. And hopefully it pays dividends, right? They're only 2 away from tying this thing back up. And if you can find that win con, which apparently currently is Spiff, the frag leader for Orgless. If you can find that win con, find yourself one more round, man, this turns into quite the game.
Bombs from being defused by attackers.
This is a pivotal round here for the ZoCorp team. Their best option on attack to try and find a win, and they absolutely need to. A 4-5 score line going into the rest of the rotation, significantly better than having Orgless go back to a basement or a 2F site on match point scenario. So this is a pivotal round for this team. Who they choose to bring from the attacking side, critical at this point. Franklin and Spiff running the 2 slowdown ops again. The Castle Nozami going to block off all of the sight lines, and it worked. It forced ZoCorp into, some of those confrontational points. They were trying to do, the standard clears and just could not really gain any significant ground. Never really able to make a push up the top of the spiral stairs. So this is it, my friend. Important round as that first 10 seconds is done. Brought along, some of the long-range operators, the Glaz and the Zofia, so they're looking to make sure they can clear those castle and those Azami barricades quickly.
And yes, this is a best of one, a sprint to the very end of it, Orgless one away from that match point scenario, and not going to see much of a difference here outside of this defense until we get to that next ban, right? Until they can take out, and who do you choose? Take out the Azami, the Castle, the Mira, all of them are operators that are, oh, I was about to say, don't you try that. Don't you lay down on that bush. That's going to get you killed in a hurry. This isn't ranked, my friend.
Yeah, this is from a very competitive T2 comp team. So ZoCorp has got their work cut out for them. We said it was an underdog scenario. They did manage to put up 3 rounds so far. And now, like we said, the important pivotal round here. And again, big hold from the Orgless defense upstairs on the 2F. They're using this, no matter whether or not it's a basement, first floor, 2F site, as the main focus, the main hold for their defensive strat, and forcing an awful lot of that action to happen upstairs.
Azami locked in. Franklin ready to take that battle onto blue. Zofia, the one to put that potential battle onto him, is Scott can get rid of those Kiba barriers. But at more than half the round gone, I mean, the time is just eating away at this attacking team, and we haven't taken any map space. We haven't taken any kills. This one's going to be a tough one. We might be looking. I know it's 5. And put it out there, but unless we see ZoCorp start getting active and claiming some of these kills, we are not even going to we're going to be put onto a match point scenario. First one goes down as it's a trade. Daggers and Inrio go down as Thermite starts to open up the wall so he can put some pressure onto it. He's so close to that thing. They do get it opened up, and they take down the Kiba barriers, but Azami still got plenty. A C4 to ring out, not going to do anything. Franklin find one, Rival to answer. Rival goes down,
oh no!
For another, and now it puts us into that terrible position. Another 1vx scenario where we got to see Summer good for the multi-kill. He's got to get as many kills as he has to his name currently. Looking towards the top, he's going to run into the E-box. A little bit afraid. Now the swing coming in. He's going to get one. That's going to be the start of it. 21 seconds left. He's got to take on the Castle, the Spiff, who don't miss, and Franklin. And Franklin with a barbed wire and on a 1 HP scenario.
No.
Well,
oh.
That's all she wrote on that one.
Yeah, and I was going to say that it was a clawback. The start of the comeback as he killed Franklin as it was just going crazy, running at him in the E-box. You said it, but Franklin gets his revenge in the afterlife with the barbed wire taking him down. So I don't know whether or not he forgot that the barbed wire does damage, or I guess didn't really have an option to trying to take it out, the fact that it's just underneath the window. But Orgless just played that one a little bit better. ZoCorp really struggled to get anything going, couldn't really gain a foothold up top. Orgless did a great job of holding the vertical, and they're going to have to approach this a little bit differently now. For sure, expect that Orgless is going to have a very strong upstairs hold. I don't know whether or not the shields is going to be the play. I know they're showing the Blackbeard here at this point. I like the Fuse pick, though, and I know I'm a Fuse main for sure, but if they're going to use something to try and clear the defenders out, cause chaos, cause motion, that somebody else can try and hold an angle and pick the defenders off before they really get into a do-or-die scenario, a 1v3, or some a clutch-up that Summer has been in twice now, this is the option for it.
Not a bad play. Almost wouldn't mind seeing a little bit more of some site direct action, right? If you've got 4 people holding up on the floor and 1 down in sight, maybe, I don't know, take a run at it. Force the defense into a retake scenario, turn them into the attacking scenario instead. Could be something great. We'll see. They're going to triple down on the shoddy work here, Run. Mute, Smoke, and Warden bringing along the shotgun as well. They banned out the Mira, so not going to be able to play some of those longer areas that probably should have been banned just a little bit earlier. But hey, there's a learning process. Everyone invited means that we all still got a ton to learn when playing Siege in the seasonal series.
This could be the very last round, though, here of the round of the game here in round 1. This is a double round robin. Round 1 here. Round 2 is going to be Overtake versus the Black Stallions. That would be the game here on this channel. But all the teams getting to play each other. 2 rounds today, 2 rounds tomorrow, and continuing again next weekend. So 6 and 7 p.m. Saturday, Sunday. for the next 3 weeks in a row as we work through the contender division, which is where we're at. All the teams that did not qualify for contender division got to play in the promise division. So, if you're just wanting to pick it up and join for the next summer series, keep an eye out. Challenger mode, where all that action is happening. Orgless, though, now on defense, first 30 seconds are done, and ZoCorp doing a good job of trying to find some of this intel, and the opening pick is a great place to start.
Yeah, and that's a huge one, right? LMG is going to claim a life, but does get answered back. So does put us into a 4-4, still holding up onto this first floor area. In fact, 2 folks hanging up there. The other one, still that danger. Spiff on the back stairs, looking to play spoiler should it get too active. Blackbeard in some trouble now as they start to push up in the 2 versus 1 scenario, but the hold on to blue gonna answer back.
Okay.
Again, Inrio good for 2 as a shotgun rings out. Now they hold on to that blue space. Summer's able to take one. L85 claims a life as Focal goes down, and it's a low health scenario here. Only but a bullet for Summer. Now they've got plenty of time, though. Suss out where these defenders are at. Try to get yourself in isolation. And then, I guess, step 2, go pick up the diffuser. Push in from Garage is going to see Spiff to find another one. That's a headshot as Daggers goes down. So Summer, 1 HP in a dream. Don't breathe it in! Oh.
Oh, no. Tragic. No. The gadget kills at the end twice in a row. Oh. Tragic is the name of the game, but 7-3 victory for this Orgless team. It may have been, dropped there by Core at the end. They are still living up to their name. This is going to be a great team to watch as we go forward through the seasonal series here. The summer version today. It's round 1. Round 2 is going to be coming up next. Just waiting for the rest of the games to finish up before we start. But round 2 coming up here next on this channel.
That's right. Sit back, relax, because when we come back, we're going to bring you another match. Ayo.
Let's go.
everything I say. The lies that float around my head are what I feel and who I am. Black guy searching for the light. I still love you, I just hate the man I am. Can you help me understand what everyone believes is me? It's one of the two voices in my head. So paint my mirror to fix your view. Everything inside is washed and blue. I'm so confused. So carry me home tonight as I drink until I cry. Stare at the sky, heaven tonight. I still love you, I just hate the man I am. Can you help me understand
That is the greatest moment.
As I drink until I cry, stare at the sky, heaven and night. I still love you, I just hate the man I am. Can you help me understand what everyone believes is me? Is one of the two voices in my
What's up and welcome back, fellow Siege spectators and players. Well, we've got some unfortunate news. When everybody is allowed, sometimes the teams can't quite get it all together. Mist is going to get a forfeit win, I believe. Is that correct there, Mr. Run?
Yeah, that's right. Spaceshoobs MX unable to fill a roster with enough players for the game today. It is the seasonal series here in Phase 2 is a double round robin. We're going to see more games from the Spaceshoob MX team, but after losing in round 1, round 2 is going to be a forfeit win for Mist Esports as they pick up a win. Unfortunate there for the Spaceshoobs. We really wanted to see this game, but we got more coming at you tomorrow. We're going to cover rounds 3 and 4 tomorrow as well at 6 and 7. But, now you got to say it, man. One more special thing coming out tonight.
That's right. Normally, when we're at this point of the broadcast, it's like, well, damn, there's no more Siege to be had. But today is not the case. We are going to raid out. We're going to take a short break, but we're going to be back tonight to take back on the Jinxie tournament, the finals. Jinxie stomping Mingo J raid is going to be a great game if they make it there. If not, they're on the other side of it. Aiden Tax playing, Glybo playing. I mean, just all of the names that you know and love in the roller series that got together tonight for a tournament that's paying quite well as well. So we are going to come back. We're going to cover the finals. We're just going to take a short break while we do so.
Yeah, that's right. I know. That tournament, the $2,000 elite tournament for the roller Saturdays, we're going to cover that one. We got an EU Siege Pro. And if Glybo's team can make it, an NAL Siege Pro playing in the tournament tonight, and that doesn't even include the Jinxie and the rest of the squad. So this is going to be great. We'll come back for that final. TBD exactly when that start time is, but 2-3 hours roughly for us to come back for that one. So unfortunate we're not going to get to see a round 2 game there as the Spaceshoobs unable to fill a roster. Missed Esports with the default win tonight.
Yeah, man, there were a couple of those today, but that's okay. It's growing pains. It's the new seasonal series, and we got to get through those crutch points, those pinch points, and we'll work it out. It'll get going. But so tonight, for right now, we are done. We're going to go take a break, get something to drink, get something to eat, and then when we come back, we're going to bring you that elite Saturday roller tourney and its final conclusion. So for us, at least for now, we are at the place where we must bid you adieu. So as the lights start to dim and the jukebox starts to sing closing time, as always, my friends, you don't have to go home.
But you can't stay here.
For now. Ayo.
Let's go.